Some people don't need to say a word to be unforgettable. You know the type, the ones who walk into a room and instantly shift the energy. Heads turn, conversations pause. Not because they're loud or flashy, but because there's something about them, something magnetic. That's not luck, that's aura. Your aura is the invisible energy you carry, an emotional frequency that speaks before you do. And when it's powerful, trust me, everyone feels it. You've probably noticed it in subtle ways. The way strangers open up to you, the calm you bring into chaos, the way your silence still holds weight in a noisy world. That's not coincidence, that's presence. In this video, I'm sharing 5 undeniable signs that your aura isn't just strong, it's rare. And once you recognize these signs, you'll understand why you've always felt a little different, a little set apart. Stoicism teaches us to own our inner world, and your aura. That's the outer expression of everything you've mastered inside. So if you're ready to find out why people are drawn to you without even knowing why, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Don't skip a second. Every sign builds on the next, and by the end you might just see yourself in a completely new light. The first sign that your aura might be more powerful than you realize. Have you ever felt like people are drawn to you for reasons you can't quite explain? Maybe you walk into a room, and even without saying a word, heads turn. Or you're standing in line at a store, just minding your business, and someone starts opening up to you like you've been best friends for years. These aren't just passing moments of coincidence. They're clues that your aura might be more powerful than you realize. It's not about your clothes, your tone of voice, or even your facial expressions. It's something deeper, something invisible but undeniable, your energy. This effect, what some call a magnetic presence, is real, and it can happen to people who aren't even trying. You might notice that strangers approach you to ask for directions, or co-workers instinctively come to you for advice, even if you're not the most experienced one in the room. It's not because you're loud or attention-seeking. On the contrary, the strongest auras tend to come from people who carry themselves with calm confidence, not ego. What's really going on is that your emotional state, your internal sense of stability, is projecting outward in a way that others can feel even if they can't explain it. I once watched someone in a crowded airport lounge. Nothing flashy about them at all. No designer clothes, no loud talking, just sitting there quietly with a book. But within 10 minutes, 2 separate people had struck up conversations with them. One ended up crying as they shared something deeply personal. The other walked away with a lighter heart and a new sense of clarity. The person didn't do much except listen, but it was enough. That's the power of an aligned energy field, and while science has only scratched the surface, studies at the HeartMath Institute and other research bodies have shown that our hearts generate measurable electromagnetic fields that fluctuate based on our emotional and psychological state. These fields can be felt by those around us, which means the quality of our internal world shapes how others experience us. When your aura is strong, grounded, and emotionally balanced, it communicates a kind of unspoken permission. It's safe here. People lean in without knowing why. Children instinctively smile. Animals approach without hesitation. This isn't some mystical fluke. It's a reflection of your inner clarity. And that inner clarity isn't just something you're born with. It's something you build. The truth is, our society teaches us to constantly chase validation. From social media likes to workplace recognition, we're bombarded with signals that say, be louder, be flashier, be more. But the most powerful energy doesn't demand attention. It commands it, quietly and unmistakably. That's where Stoic philosophy becomes a useful tool, especially in a world overflowing with noise. The Stoics taught that the only thing truly within our control is our own mind, our judgments, our responses, our perspective. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic thinker, wrote that we should be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it. This mindset creates a psychological foundation that radiates stability, and people notice it. If your energy is calm when others are anxious, you become an anchor. If you stay composed while others spiral into drama, you become trustworthy. If your emotions are under your command, not suppressed, but understood, you become magnetic. Not because you're trying to be, but because your self-possession makes people feel safer in their own skin. Psychologically, this boils down to the principle of emotional regulation. People with strong auras are often those who have learned how to manage their reactions, even when life gets messy. They know themselves. They don't outsource their self-worth to other people's opinions. That self-awareness creates a calm field around them, a kind of emotional gravity that pulls others in. That's why someone might choose you to lead, even if you're not the loudest voice in the room. It's not charisma in the traditional sense, it's presence. Let's break it down. Think about the last time you felt completely at ease with someone. Maybe it was a mentor, a friend, or even a stranger. Chances are that person wasn't trying to impress you. They were just there, calm, listening, open. That sense of comfort wasn't about what they said, it was how they made you feel. Now flip it. Think about the times someone felt that way around you. Those moments aren't random, they're reflections of your energetic state. So how do you strengthen that aura, especially if you feel like the world has been pushing you around lately? Start by going inward. Stop chasing the noise. The most powerful thing you can do is to cultivate your inner world. Build habits that restore emotional balance. Mindfulness, journaling, setting clear boundaries, learning to sit with discomfort without reacting. Practice silence, not as avoidance, but as strength. When you become the kind of person who can sit calmly with your own thoughts, you become the kind of person others feel safe opening up to. That is real power. Another way to amplify your presence is to pay close attention to how you treat others. Not because you're performing kindness, but because you see people. Stoics emphasize the idea of shared humanity. Seneca said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." When your energy comes from that place of inner peace and outward empathy, it's nearly impossible for people to ignore. You don't have to be flashy. You don't have to sell yourself. Your presence will speak for you. And here's something else to consider. Being magnetic doesn't mean everyone will like you. In fact, sometimes your energy will disrupt people who aren't used to stability. They may project, withdraw, or even resent your calm. That's okay. A strong aura isn't about being universally adored. It's about being unmistakably authentic. That authenticity will attract the right people and repel the ones not aligned with your path. In the end, your aura is a reflection of the relationship you have with yourself. If you're constantly seeking validation, it will weaken. If you're grounded in your own values, your energy becomes solid, calm, and unmistakable. That's the kind of power that doesn't fade. That's the kind of presence that fills a room without needing to speak. So ask yourself, what is your energy saying when you walk into a space? Is it restless, defensive, or is it calm, steady, and open? The answers lie not in how others react, but in how deeply you've learned to trust yourself. When your presence becomes an anchor, your aura becomes unforgettable. If you've found these insights valuable, let me know by commenting "yes" below. Your thoughts matter, and I'd love to hear from you. The second powerful sign, one that might explain those gut feelings you've been having all along. There's a moment that happens before words are spoken, before expressions are read. You walk into a room and something clenches inside you, not fear, not anxiety, but a deep, subtle knowing. You feel the tension before it's acknowledged. You sense the dissonance before it's expressed. That sense, that inner radar, isn't some random quirk. It's the second unmistakable sign of a powerful aura, heightened emotional sensitivity and intuition. When your aura is strong, it becomes more than just an energy field. It becomes a tool, one that picks up on what others miss entirely. People with powerful auras don't just listen to what's being said, they hear what isn't. They don't just see the mood, they feel it in their bodies. It's not a sixth sense, it's the same five, tuned to a higher frequency. Think of it like having emotional surround sound in a world where most people are still stuck on AM radio. But this sensitivity, while it might sound like a gift, often feels like a burden. That's the part no one talks about enough. Let me tell you about Jenna. She worked in corporate sales, was great at her job, and always seemed to be one step ahead of what her clients needed. But what most people didn't see was how deeply she felt everything, every undercurrent in the office, every shift in mood during meetings, every unspoken resentment brewing just below the surface. It wasn't just exhausting, it was overwhelming. One afternoon, she had a sudden physical reaction, a pounding heart, shallow breaths, before stepping into what should have been a routine team meeting. She couldn't explain it, but something felt wrong. Moments later, she walked into the room and sensed it immediately. One of her teammates was about to be let go. The way the manager avoided eye contact, the stiffness in the room, the silent anticipation. Her body had already known what her mind hadn't caught up to yet. This kind of emotional radar isn't learned. It's felt, and it's often misunderstood, even by the people who live with it. You might think you're just too sensitive or overreacting. You might have been told to toughen up or stop overthinking. But in reality, what you're feeling is valid. Your aura is tuned into energies others can't detect. You're not imagining the discomfort in the room. You're responding to it. The psychological explanation? People with heightened sensitivity, also known as high empathy or emotional intelligence, have nervous systems that respond more intensely to stimuli. You're not just reacting to behavior, you're absorbing energy. That's why being in large crowds or emotionally charged environments leaves you drained. It's not weakness, it's overexposure. This is where the concept of emotional boundaries becomes essential. And here's where Stoicism offers more than just a theoretical framework. It offers real, practical tools. The Stoics believed in mastering the self before trying to influence the world. They didn't deny emotion. They disciplined it, not through suppression, but through clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote often about the importance of distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. For someone with a powerful aura and emotional sensitivity, this distinction is a lifeline. You cannot control the energy in a room. You cannot fix the pain of everyone you encounter, but you can choose what you allow into your internal world. You can observe without absorbing. That's not coldness, it's wisdom. One way to practice this is to start recognizing what feelings are yours and what aren't. If you've ever left a conversation feeling inexplicably angry, sad, or agitated, stop and ask yourself, was that mine to carry? This question, simple as it sounds, is revolutionary. It gives you permission to filter, and when you begin to separate intuition from emotional noise, your power becomes precise. You stop reacting to everything, and you start responding to what matters. There's also a practical need to protect your energy from what many call emotional vampires, those people who seem to drain you just by being near them. And let's be honest, you know exactly who they are. After a few minutes with them, you feel like you've run a marathon, even if you didn't speak much. They're not evil, they're just empty, and your presence becomes a battery they subconsciously try to plug into. The solution? Distance, discernment, and grounding practices that bring you back to center. A walk outside, a journal session. Even a few minutes of silence can reset your emotional state and reclaim the energy you've leaked. But what about when this sensitivity turns into action? That's the real power. Jenna, the woman I mentioned earlier, didn't just walk away from that meeting. Over time, she learned to trust those instincts. When she had a feeling someone on her team needed help, she reached out, even if nothing obvious was going on. Her empathy wasn't just a reaction, it became a strategy. Her clients trusted her not just for her knowledge, but because they felt seen. She became the kind of leader people follow instinctively, not because she demanded attention, but because her presence created safety. This brings us to an important distinction. Intuition is not anxiety. Anxiety is chaotic. It nags, loops, and spirals. It fills your head with what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. Intuition, on the other hand, arrives like a clear voice in a quiet room. It doesn't panic. It informs. Learning to tell the difference is critical. When something feels wrong and you don't have evidence, don't dismiss it. Ask questions. Stay still. See what surfaces. Most of the time, intuition doesn't scream. It whispers. You can develop this ability. Like any muscle, your intuitive sense strengthens with use. It requires presence, mindfulness, stillness. Before you walk into a crowded space, take a breath. Set an internal intention. Ask yourself what you're walking into and what energy you're bringing with you. These simple moments of self-awareness can help you stay grounded, even when your surroundings are chaotic. If any of this sounds familiar, if you've felt things others couldn't name, if your body often knows what your mind hasn't caught up to yet, then you're not alone. And you're not fragile. You're wired to feel deeply, and that is a form of strength. It just needs boundaries. It needs structure. It needs the kind of mindset the Stoics perfected: calm within chaos, presence without attachment. So let's make this real. When was the last time your intuition warned you about something before your logic caught up? Did you trust it? Did you ignore it? And how did it turn out? Share it. Your story might just be the one someone else needs to recognize their own power. The third sign that your aura is truly extraordinary. The invisible becomes visible when we know what to look for. You might think your energy is invisible, something only felt, not seen. But the third sign of a powerful aura is that it does become visible, just not in the way most people expect. The world responds to you in strange, undeniable ways. Lights flicker, electronics act up, devices break or freeze only around you, and never seem to malfunction the same way in anyone else's hands. These aren't coincidences. They're the physical echoes of a field of energy so strong that it begins to interact with matter itself. This isn't about superstition. It's about a biological truth we're only beginning to understand. The human body doesn't just carry energy, it emits it. And when that field is particularly strong, it can disrupt delicate systems around it. Just like solar flares interfere with satellites, your energy can disrupt anything from a digital watch to a computer's software. But here's what's more important. The stronger your energy, the more your internal state determines how it shows up in the world. Imagine someone like Mark, an HVAC technician who often worked long hours repairing systems in high-stress environments. He wasn't into spiritual talk or energy work. He lived in the tangible, the mechanical. But there was one thing that bothered him deeply. His tools never seemed to work right. Batteries would drain, sensors would short out. At first, he blamed the brands, then the job sites. Until someone pointed out that these issues only seemed to happen when he was under emotional stress. Not others, just him. The patterns became too clear to ignore. There's a reason for this. Our emotional states have a real physical impact on the energy we emit. And when someone's aura is particularly powerful, those shifts become measurable. Heat is one example. You might notice that people often say you feel warm, even when you don't feel hot yourself. Or you may find that certain people step closer to you in conversations, as if drawn by something comforting and invisible. That warmth is not metaphorical. It's the vibrational intensity of your aura creating real changes in the environment. This can also work in reverse. Sudden cold spots, unexpected shivers, or those inexplicable goosebumps that seem to arise without warning, they often coincide with emotional spikes or shifts in awareness. Your body in these moments is responding to unseen energy like a sensor. Modern tools like gas discharge visualization cameras have captured these energetic fluctuations in lab settings, but you don't need expensive equipment to notice them. You live them. It's in the way people pause when you walk into a room. It's in the strange way your phone overheats during stressful calls. It's in the unease of sensitive animals around you when your mind is unsettled. These manifestations are not just signals, they're reflections of the intensity of your presence. The Stoic lens offers a necessary balance here. Stoicism teaches that we must become masters of our inner world if we hope to influence the outer world in a meaningful way. When you begin to notice that your presence can shift physical reality, it becomes even more critical to stay grounded. Without discipline, this energy can create chaos. It can burn out devices and relationships alike. But when channeled through awareness and control, it becomes a source of remarkable influence and stability. You stop reacting to everything and instead start directing your energy with purpose. This doesn't mean suppressing emotion. Stoics didn't advocate for emotional denial. They practiced emotional clarity. They taught that our responsibility is to understand what moves us and to move with reason, not impulse. When you apply that wisdom to your powerful aura, the interference becomes intentional. You learn to regulate your presence, to harness your energy instead of being overwhelmed by it. And the world begins to respond not with static and noise, but with harmony. If you've ever been told you have a strong presence, or that people feel something different around you, reflect on what you've seen in your environment. Has your energy affected technology? Have you noticed heat, chills, or physical sensations during intense emotional moments? Your experiences aren't imaginary. They are the byproduct of a powerful, energetic field interacting with a world that's far more responsive than we've been taught to believe. Now ask yourself, how do you handle that power? Do you let emotional storms push it into chaos? Or have you begun to build the internal stillness that allows it to work for you, not against you? If you've noticed these strange physical signs, you're not broken and you're not imagining it, but it's your responsibility to learn how to use what you've been given. Have you ever had an experience where your energy seemed to impact the physical world around you? I'd like to hear about it. Your story might help someone else understand their own. Let's continue exploring the fourth sign that your aura stands out from the crowd. The most powerful lights need careful management or they burn out too quickly. This profound truth brings us to sign number 4 of a powerful aura: natural boundary setting and intuitive energy management. Have you ever been at a family gathering or work function and suddenly felt the need to leave? Not because anything was wrong, but because your body and mind screamed for space. You smiled politely, made your exit, and immediately felt your nervous system exhale. That moment, as inconvenient as it may seem to others, is actually a sign of something extraordinary. It's the fourth indicator of a powerful aura, the instinctive ability to set boundaries and manage your energy without needing to justify it. People with strong energetic fields don't just glow, they also know when it's time to dim the lights and retreat into stillness. Take Angela, a third-grade teacher who by all appearances was deeply calm and compassionate. Her students loved her and parents often told her she had a soothing presence. But what people didn't see was how exhausted she became after long days filled with noise, emotion, and attention. After school events or parent-teacher nights, Angela would go straight home, sit in silence for hours, and avoid phone calls. Her friends thought she was being distant, What they didn't understand was that her aura was constantly working, absorbing, balancing, processing. The moment she walked into a classroom, she was managing far more than lessons and behavior. She was holding the emotional atmosphere steady, often without realizing it. People with powerful auras don't just walk into rooms, they shift the energy of them. Arguments soften, nervousness calms, tension dissolves. This isn't magic, it's resonance. Just like a tuning fork can bring discordant instruments into harmony, a strong aura stabilizes the emotional frequency of others. But this influence comes with cost. You're not just participating in energy, you're filtering it. This is why crowds can feel overwhelming. A person with an average aura might enjoy the buzz of a busy restaurant or the high energy of a festival, but someone like Angela walks away drained, not from introversion, but from overstimulation. It's the emotional equivalent of trying to juggle 50 voices at once. This constant influx of emotional data can wear a person down if boundaries aren't firmly in place. And yet, many people with powerful auras feel guilty about saying no or stepping back. They fear being seen as cold or difficult. Here is where Stoicism offers real value. The Stoics taught that knowing your limits isn't weakness, it's wisdom. They believed in conserving energy for what matters and letting go of what doesn't serve your purpose. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most self-aware leaders in history, spoke often about the importance of protecting your inner peace. For someone with a powerful aura, this means knowing when to pull back, not because you're fragile, but because you're too valuable to run on empty. Developing these boundaries doesn't always require dramatic lifestyle changes. It begins with small acts of self-trust, knowing when to say no, choosing solitude over performance, taking the extra few minutes to ground yourself before a meeting. One technique Angela eventually adopted was a simple grounding practice. Before walking into emotionally intense environments, she'd take a moment alone, close her eyes, and visualize her feet anchoring deep into the earth. It gave her a sense of containment, a reminder that she didn't have to carry everything. Another practice that helped her was cleansing visualization at the end of each day. She imagined golden light flowing down from above, clearing away anything that didn't belong to her. With consistency, these small rituals gave her the strength to show up fully without burning out. Natural boundary setting isn't about keeping people out. It's about protecting your capacity to give with clarity and compassion. It's a sign of a developed aura, one that understands how easily energy can be depleted if not managed with intention. Angela stopped apologizing for needing time alone. She began honoring her sensitivity as a kind of intelligence, a way of reading the world not through noise but through resonance. She realized that her emotional endurance was not unlimited, and the sooner she accepted that, the more effective she became both professionally and personally. The next time you feel the need to retreat, resist the urge to dismiss it. That urge is not weakness, it's insight. Your aura, working like a finely tuned instrument, is telling you it needs calibration, and honoring that need isn't selfish, it's strategic. Sign number 5 of a powerful aura reveals itself in perhaps the most magical way: enhanced manifestation abilities and frequent synchronicities. Have you ever had something fall into place so perfectly it made you pause and wonder if it was more than luck? Maybe you thought about a job you hadn't applied for yet, and then a recruiter contacted you out of the blue. Or perhaps you were worrying about rent, only for an unexpected check to arrive in the mail the next day. These aren't random blessings floating in from nowhere. They're the 5th and perhaps most astonishing sign of a powerful aura: accelerated manifestation and synchronicity. When your energy is strong and aligned, life doesn't just happen to you. It starts moving with you. Your internal state sends out subtle but commanding signals that the world responds to in ways most people never notice or understand. These manifestations aren't always dramatic. Sometimes they're quiet alignments that slip by if you're not paying attention. You might be thinking of someone and run into them at the store. You mention a book to a friend and the next day it shows up on your doorstep from someone else entirely. For most, these are brushed off as coincidences. But if this kind of thing happens to you consistently, it's not coincidence. It's your aura acting like a tuning fork, vibrating intention out into the world and pulling back aligned experiences. Science is beginning to explore what the mystics have known for centuries. That thought and emotion, when focused with intention, influence the fabric of reality at the quantum level. Your energy field doesn't end at your skin. It extends beyond your body, interacting with everything around you. And when it's powerful, it doesn't just attract attention, it shapes outcomes. This means that while most people are living reactively, those with developed auras can live creatively, bending timelines and aligning opportunities with their inner world. Consider someone like Dylan, a freelance designer who had no interest in spiritual talk or metaphysics. His life seemed charmed in ways he couldn't explain. Every time a major bill came due, a new client would appear. When he thought of moving to a new city, someone offered him a sublet without him even asking. Dylan didn't realize that his consistent focus, emotional clarity, and quiet belief were sending out signals. His aura was already doing the work. He just hadn't learned to see it that way. But this ability isn't without its shadow side. If you're scattered, fearful, or emotionally reactive, your aura doesn't stop manifesting. It just mirrors back that chaos. Stoic philosophy offers a brilliant safeguard here. The Stoics taught that our only true possession is our mind, our judgments, our choices, and our ability to choose how we respond. A powerful aura requires this kind of discipline. It isn't enough to wish for peace or success. If your inner state is misaligned, you'll attract circumstances that reflect that dissonance. But when your thoughts are deliberate, your emotions grounded, and your desires rooted in purpose, not desperation, you begin to experience a kind of flow. That's not luck. That's energetic congruence. One of the clearest ways this manifests is through synchronicity. The psychologist Carl Jung called these meaningful coincidences, and people with strong auras tend to encounter them often. You might notice repeated number sequences, hear the same phrase from different sources within hours, or feel a pull toward a specific place without knowing why, only to meet someone or learn something that changes your direction. These aren't hallucinations. They're your environment talking back, responding to your energy. This is what happens when your conscious and unconscious minds work together with the world around you. For those with powerful auras, even dreams become part of the manifestation process. Solutions arrive in sleep. Visions clarify decisions. Sometimes, something as subtle as waking up with a specific word in your mind can shape the next 24 hours in profound ways. This isn't passive daydreaming. It's your deeper intelligence at work, using every available path to bring clarity and alignment into your waking life. The trap many fall into is thinking that manifestation is about control, forcing the world to deliver exactly what you want. But those with truly strong auras understand it's not about control, it's about cooperation. You focus your intention, align your emotions, and then let go. You trust, you observe, you remain present. This is where the Stoics excelled, focusing only on what can be controlled and releasing the rest. A Stoic doesn't panic when outcomes delay. They stay centered, knowing that time serves those who remain still in their purpose. If you found yourself noticing more synchronicities lately, if things seem to click into place when you need them most, don't dismiss that. Write them down. Track them. These are not fantasy. They're evidence that your aura is communicating with the larger forces at play. The more you recognize it, the more it strengthens. Like a muscle, manifestation becomes more efficient with conscious use. Now ask yourself, when was the last time something just worked out in a way you couldn't explain? Did you notice it and honor it or brush it off as chance? Share your experience. Others may recognize in your story the signs they've been overlooking in their own. If you saw yourself in these signs, it's not by accident. You're not like everyone else, and deep down you've always known it. Your presence carries weight, even when you say nothing. Your energy speaks before you do, and that's not something you need to explain or prove. It's something you own. The world feels you, even in silence. So don't shrink it. Don't second-guess it. Keep protecting that power, living with intention, and walking like your aura leads the way, because it does. If this resonated with you, don't let it stop here. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Let's build a space where depth, self-awareness, and real energy matter. Your aura isn't just strong, it's awakening something. Let it.